I went through this analogy this morning with the participant. I explained to them if you would put $700 a year into a Roth IRA, or Roth 401k, whatever you want to call it, from age 20 to 65, $700 a year, that's all it would take. You will retire with $1 million tax free at 65. So $700 a year.
Not
a year. $700 every year is $1 million at age 65. So yeah, I agree. Build your business.
Like
Put your
$7
focus
a
there.
month. It's
It's
Starbucks
nothing.
drink.
It's nothing. It's nothing. So I won't ever say take money away from retirement or take money out of your business to save for retirement. I'm talking about taking money that's going to go somewhere anyway. Put it into something that is tax advantaged is number one, because your business is not tax advantaged. You do get deductions, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But everything you take out and you enjoy to buy, trucks, trailers, pay for your house, groceries, whatever it might be, that's all going to get taxed real heavily. If you will put that money into a Roth, this surplus that we all have in some way, shape, or form, it's tax advantaged, okay, which is a big deal. Walking away with money Uncle Sam knows about and not paying taxes on it is a big deal. I want all of that money I can get. If you don't save in a retirement plan of some type, you're missing out on that.
Yeah, I think just even having that number, like trying to figure out what that number is.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, to think about, even if you don't know the number, avoiding taxes is a good thing. So always remember that. That's one thing that this discussion can highlight for business owners is always do something that has a tax advantage. And that does. The second thing that I always remind people of talking about investments, these are nebulous things we talk about investing. I try to break it down. And this is where, going back to the analogy I made about coming from a simpler background, a blue collar family. And I don't mean that in an insult, but anyway, we still live out there. Yeah. All our friends and family are all super blue collar. I will say the bar has gotten higher for what many blue collar people understand about investments than it was 30 years ago. But because I don't have a background in it, I got to think in big picture. Talk to me like I'm a fourth grader, okay, is what works best for me. So I try to, with investments, explain the value, not of investing in stocks, but the value of a simple concept of just the time value of money, okay? Businesses don't get to enjoy the time value of money the way investments do, okay? The growth of my business has been slow. It's been steady. At first, it was hard to notice. Over time, it is noticeable, and I think we built it in a way that it's sustainable. But it's not predictable. And there's no guarantees with what we do in our business to know what the growth rate will always be. We just pour into it, do all we can, good years, bad years. The nice thing about having some of your portfolio in something besides your business is one, diversification. Okay, that's always a good thing. The second thing is you get this growth factor. Einstein once called compound interest one of the greatest wonders of the world. Why is that such a big deal? Well, part of that 700 a month or a year turning into $1 million is that idea. So there's a concept, and instead of teaching people about investments, which anybody says they're an expert in investing, run away. Okay, there are no experts, and anybody that tells you they are an expert usually has something to tell you. What I try to look at it though is if you look at what we call the stock market. When I was a kid, even in high school, that was the Dow Jones Industrial Average, top 30 industrials. Well, our society's changed, our country's changed, the business makeup has changed. Now, what we really talk about for the stock market is the S&P 500. 500 largest companies in the United States. If you look what those have averaged since 1926, so we're close to 100 years of returns of the S&P 500. It averages 10%. Now, there's good years, there's bad years. Essentially, when the economy does well, the market's going to do well. When the economy does poorly, like 22 was a year when the economy didn't do well, kind of reeling from the post-COVID $7 trillion dumped into the economy. Rates had a big thing to do with that. Rates going up and up and up, trying to slow inflation down. That was a negative year. But all in all, we've averaged 10%. So what I try to explain with the time value of money, if there's a concept called the rule of 72, and this is a good one to remember. The rule of 72, It makes a complicated thing like time value of money and rates of return simple. Take this number 72 and divide it by the interest rate, okay, that you expect or that you want or your financial advisor told you to promise. I'm telling you expect 10% because that's what the market's done the last 100 years. 72 divided by 10 is 7.2. That's the number of years to double your money at that rate. So if I can get 10% return, okay, and again, historically you have, my money doubles every 7 years. I've not been able to do that in my business. Some businesses may for a period of time. But again, even if I can do it, it's not tax advantaged. If I can put money into a Roth and I can double that every 7 years from now to when I retire, I know what that bucket of money that's tax-free is. And that's a good place to stick all the money that I have, the extra money that I can, regardless of your level of income, regardless of the size of your operation. The tax advantages of being able to put money away, double it every 7 years is enormous. So when we get a call, we help when people move jobs quite a bit. Hey, I'm leaving. I'm moving here. Help me cash out my 401k. I'm 30 years old. I got 30,000. I'm like, don't cash that out. That's $1 million truck you're looking to buy. What do you mean $1 million? I'm like, you think of the value of that $30,000 today. I think of the value of that $30,000 when you retire. And that's, again, the difference between, think about the time value of money in the future versus the present value of that today. So if you cash out that retirement account today, you're going to pay 10% penalty and then roughly 20, whatever your personal tax bracket is. Say you're an effective 24%. So you're roughly going to lose a third of that. So that $20,000 is what you can buy your truck with today. Okay. I look at that $30,000, money doubling every 7 years. So I can double that at least 5 times. 7 times 5 is 35, which gets me to age 65, pretty close to retirement. Ty and I had a conversation with a gentleman in Arkansas at a big vet supply company we work with. And he was saying, I'm thinking about cashing this out. And, I'm like, okay, let's go through the math. This 30,000 is worth 20 today. Okay. He wanted to pay some bills off. I said, or if you leave it, it's going to go in 7 years to 60, 14 years to 120, 240, 480. Then in 35 years, that's 960,000. Which would you rather have? $960,000 at retirement or $20,000 today? Ty doesn't have a mic, but what did he end up saying, Ty?
You're still going to cash it out.
He decided.
You're not investing in anything.
Yeah, and that's assuming no other investments. That's $960,000
just in that one.
That money.
And that's not dumping more money, just leaving it alone.
And I told him, if you would quit saving, spend all of your 401k that you're putting in now, blow it for the next 35 years, and just leave this, you're a millionaire. And ultimately, he called back and said, well, I thought about it. I decided I'm going to pull it out. And it's just, to me, amazing. It's amazing. It's not amazing to me that we're short-sighted about retirement on a day-to-day basis when their life's pulling us a million different directions. I get it. I don't like saving. I've just gotten a habit of I forget it. Somebody does my payroll. I don't see my 401k come out. I'm not writing a check for it. I've got used to living with that portion coming out. So I get it. It's hard to see. But what is more amazing to me is when people look at the math, they still have a hard time saving for tomorrow.